Nope. Mars friend seems to notably be agitated when we first arrived. Do you happen to know what might that be? Apparently there's a primal. A kobold in the camp, you say? They're desperate. Alright, let's find the kobold then. Looking for a hidden kobold. Could be anywhere, right? So let's fly. Maybe we can find him by flying. I don't think he's near the fate. Probably up here. Oh, there he is. Hello, Mr. Kobolding. How are you doing here? What are you doing here? Yes. Where are you going? I'm gonna catch you, Mr. Kobold. Come back here, Mr. Kobold. Where are you hiding? Where are you hiding, Mr. Kobold? Down here? Up here? Somewhere around here? Mr. Kobold? Up here, right? Under the stairs. That's a good hiding place, Mr. Kobold. Why are you hiding here? Stay back, far away. It's no use playing this up. It's no use. Okay, we're going back up. Okay. Should be near here somewhere. Right here. Hello, Mr. Kobold. How are you doing? Please don't hurt me. I only wish to talk. Yes, just talk. Why you then stop running? Jeez. How many times did he have to run away? This was a stupid plan, but if I tell no one, then everyone will. Found me again. What to do? Behind peace, only to talk. Speak, say, talk. So please, do not hurt me. So this is our really kobold infiltrator, is it? No wonder the soldier is on edge. He could very well give one a bruised knee. How's that? We've got him. Fine work, Scions. So little one, thought you could sneak into the camp. Did you? Planning to steal my crystals, were you? No, I come to talk, to ask for help. But when your soldiers saw me, they drew their weapons and shouted, and I... Now, let us all take a deep breath and discuss this like civilized individuals. What is your name, child? Pigman Gabu, of the 620... What? The 620th... Okay. I'm not Gabu, I'm Alphino, and this is my sister Alistair. So the woman who found you is our friend, and now that you know names, we can be friends too. Everyone here thinks you wanted to take his crystals. Gabu? But you said you came to ask for help. Why to us and not to your own people? What happened, Gabu? Can you tell us? No one is going to hurt you, alright? No, we're here, I promise. The Patriarch is going to summon the Great Father again, and you have to stop him, beat him, fight him, stop him. Well, there's the answer. Gabu's parents said they didn't want it, along with many others, but the Patriarch wouldn't listen. He was so angry, raging, fuming, angry. He said that if they didn't have iron in their hearts, they would serve as coke for the furnace. And then the guards took my parents and the others away, and I haven't seen any of them since. Coke for the furnace. I did not want to believe it, but I have heard tales of falsely fashioned from the bones of beastmen, which worshippers use as in their rituals, hoping to summon more powerful incarnations of their gods. By the 12, that is sickening. No one listens to Gabu, no matter how much he cries. Please, begged cries, they do not listen, only talk about punishing the overdwellers and praising the Great Father. Gabu loves the Great Father, but he loves his parents too. No, so please, help Gabu stop the Patriarch and save his parents. Commander, I advise Maelstrom Command that Titan's summoning is imminent. Should the worst come to worst, we will require their support. Meaning of the essence. We true will attempt to infiltrate the Kobold stronghold and secure the crystals and free the prisoners. Well, if you're sure, you'll forgive me if you seem optimistic. We'll make it ready just in case. Yeah, they're sacrificing people to bring back Titan. That's kind of messed up. Let's see what Gabu knows. Yeah. The Great Father Titan loves crystals. Curses covets them. And if we gather enough, he will return. That's why the Patriarch told everyone to go forth and gather them. So I was thinking, if we take all crystals away, maybe the Great Father won't come. Very good, Gabu. I was just thinking the same thing. Do you know where these crystals are stored? I know, several pots, each defended by a different order. We wanted to steal them, but he was too afraid to go alone. Yes, too afraid to go alone. But together we can take them away and hide them. Come on. Gabu will lead you to the first cage. Pray see to the crystals, I would say, and I'll stand guard for any errant patrols. Quickly. We're just gonna fly over them, they'll not notice a thing. Did you hear me, brother? I was just that. The crate won't explore Oshkarian seals. Someone took great pains to remove all traces, but enough remains to make out the patterns. See for yourself. I struggle to imagine kobolds traveling to Cordia, disrupting crystal, much less bothering to conceal their origins. suspect the crystals were smuggled into Vilbren by another party, most likely a pawn of the Ashes, as Tancred speculated. Understand, who are the Ashes? Do they worship Great Fire Titan too? Never mind about that. As I said, we do not have a lot of time. Can you lead us to the next cage, Gabu? Yes, of course. Gabu knows the way. Next one is the last and very large, big thingy. Very large. So you guess at the time you see no signs of crystals. Interesting. They might have taken them away. We will, Gabu, we will. Stay calm, we will have time. They have yet to call for the remaining crates, yes? If they had, then they would have found the other crashes empty and sounded the alarm. Nevertheless, I believe the time for stealth has passed. We must breach the naval and seize the remaining crystal. There's no other way to prevent Titan summoning. First, give me your crystal, that I might deliver them into Commander Loden's custody. We dare not dig them into the bowels of the mountain. Crystal, if you would be so kind. There we go. That's the ones we got so far. Thank you. I shall deliver them to Camp Overlook. I know, we thought you could remain the tick of the action. But if this is what you would prefer, then Godspeed, brother. This way, this way. Get out from the mines now. Yeah, let's go. Let's attack the mines. Poke on our mine. Let's go. No too powerful for any of these monsters at this level, so don't have to go around it. Should be around here. Take it as the Aether I'd seek right then. As soon as Alpha arrives, we go and trust your feeling suitably heroic, but no telling what's our worst thing we'll face in there. Quick, Claude, briskly, swiftly, quickly. I will not suffer any further delays. Lay down your arms and surrender. We have your crystals. There will be no summoning this day. Order deliveries here, but how? How did you? Where are my parrots, Bishop? Where are they? They're dead. They're dead. Father. Coke for the furnace, you monster, how could you? Oh, we are but servants of the Lord Crafts. We are his, and he may drink of our blood and partake of our flesh, that he might draw upon the strength of his children and defend them from the tyranny of the overdwellers. No, I'll say not yet. I understand, Bershak. I do. Your fear, your anger, and your hate. You would do anything to protect your people, anything to deliver them from despair, whatever it takes to ensure that those who threaten you can never do so again. But in your single-minded pursuit of this objective, you have brought suffering on your own kith and kin. You have sacrificed the lives of the very people you sought to protect. But it needs not to be this way, Bershak. Renounce this bloody curse. Cease your attempts to summon your god and work with us together to build a lasting peace. Another peace to be abandoned at the overdwellers' convenience. Oathbreakers, all of you, liars, betrayers, oathbreakers. You take and you take. And when you have had your fill, you sue for peace. You promise that this time, the last, until you grow hungry again. When we dare to defend ourselves, you declare that this beast tribe cannot be suffered to live. That our God drains the land of Aether and brings not the suffering. I will hear no more lies of you and yours, overdweller. You ruined your own land. You'll not ruin ours. I said I'd come for you. I did. I'm here. Say something, please. Please. Wake up, wake up, wake up. I'm here. Half level. Leave it to me. We must away. How could I be so foolish? I should have known better than to let Gabu accompany us. We're being born of such tumultuous emotion, and seems incapable of non-violence. If we have none, one cause for optimism is that our main crystals were present. They represented but a fraction of the quantity intended for the summoning's ritual, meaning the Titan must be far weaker than planned. Be that as it may, he is yet a primal, The longer you leave him to bleed, the line of Aether, the stronger he will grow. And should Titan be permitted to leave Ogre Mole, our lives will be lost. The Maelstrom will rally their troops, and the cycle will continue. You know what must be done, will you? Face the Lord of Crags once more. Thank you, my friend. Yes, and I will attend to Gabu. When you have finished with the primal, look for us in capital below. Sounds good. Let's go. Naval hard. Wait, is that? What? The naval hard. I was gonna say, I think I already did the naval hard. That's kind of weird. Okay, let's do it then. Shit. There she is. I did not tell you she would return safe and sound. The deed is done then. Titan is no more. Good. There has been enough tragedy this day. He has been like that since he remained conscious. We believe he can hear us, but he has made no attempt to respond. He is almost certainly still in shock, but we cannot discount the possibility he succumbed to the Primal's influence. Should that prove to be the case, like any other draw, such as the Alliance policy, yes, you have the right of it. We must not rush to conclusions, after all. We once feared that his sales followers were beyond reason, and many have since laid down their arms and accepted Ishgard's peace. I can't but watch, wait, and pray. I would rather not worry about what may or may not come to pass. There's not to be chained from dwelling on and eventually over which we have no control, much less one which may never even come to pass. Let us tend to the immediate matters, informing Commander Bloden of Titan's demise. You may be certain he will be glad of the news. I'm sure, let's go. Bloden, are you there? Right out you. I feared that you said you had matters well in hand. I'm glad to hear it, but not as half as glad as my men believe you and me. Regardless of whether or not it was signed properly, primals are primals, and there's ain't a soul in the Maelstrom that hasn't lost a faithful friend in one. Don't get me wrong, like we were all prepared to do our part, but we weren't so naive as to think we'd live to tell the tale. Thankfully, of course, it didn't come to that, which, my friend, sounds to me like cause for celebration. Let's celebrate.
Who goes there?
Who goes there?
Oh, it's you. Forgive me for straying from the camp. He hasn't been feeling too welcome, to say the least. I thought a change of scenery might do him good. But, alas. It's so quiet out here. The stars spread out before us, beckoning across time and space. Dawn may banish even the darkest night. How bitterly beautiful, those words. I should be stronger for all my experiences, yet my heart aches more than ever. I never understood why Grandfather gave his life that day. I thought that if I came here, I would find the answers I needed. But when I finally laid eyes on the land he sacrificed everything to save, saw firsthand the bickering, the pettiness, I was disappointed. I was angry. I could not fathom how these people were more deserving of his love than his family, than me. But when Grandfather revealed the whole truth of the calamity to us, I finally understood. And I resolved there and then to continue his legacy in my own way. My travels have been enlightening, but I cannot say that I have enjoyed them. I have lost count of the many petty crises that I was helpless to resolve and of the people whose actions I could not understand. There were others, of course. Good people. People with whom I felt a kinship, whose lives I could not save. I found myself asking what it was all for. Why try if I was doomed to fail in the end? But then I recalled Grandfather's words to my father, years ago, before he left Charlayan behind forever. To ignore the plight of those one might conceivably save is not wisdom, it is indolence. We must all protect that which we hold most dear in the manner of our own choosing. We have to try, do we not? Of course, it's one thing to try and another to do. There were times while I was tracking the warriors of darkness when I faltered, when I was afraid. But then I thought of my brother, of Urianger, of you. Oh, pray forgive me. This conversation has been rather one-sided, hasn't it? Mayhap you could recount some of your adventures in Ishgard. We had no clear memories of our life in the hinterlands, having returned to the motherland as infants. Nevertheless, I am quite familiar with Master Matoya, as is every Charlayan. I should like to speak with her someday. 'Twould not surprise me if Alphino's recent maturation was at least somewhat due to her sage guidance. I would never tell him this, of course, but there have been moments when I've caught myself thinking of him as an elder brother. The hopes and dreams of so many rest on your shoulders, Warrior of Light. As long as the sun rises, we can but carry on, for the sake of those we hold dear.
To what end dost thou cling to the tainted gifts of the Mother?
Every tool has its purpose. Even this. Well, what is it?
The seeds sown in Vilbrand have been plucked from the earth and left to wither. Alas, Titan's demise sufficed not to drive the kobolds to deepest desperation.
What did the man in white have to say?
That we are to proceed as he did first set forth.
Well, that's easy for him to say! It's not his bloody world on the brink of destruction, is it?
Be thou well reminded that with an end to Ishgard's unrest, naught now remaineth to preoccupy the Scion's thoughts. And thus may they devote their every energy to thwarting thee and thine. I foresee only greater difficulties ahead.
Foresee? Are you sure you don't welcome them? I'm starting to think you might hold a candle for your old friends after all.
Pray do not mistake mine intent. I but look upon the path which lieth before us with due trepidation. Shouldst thou be of like mind, pray consider then another course. For the power to invoke the ardor belongeth not unto the Ascians alone. With thine own hand strike down thine enemy, the so-called hero who would see thy home lost to light. Do but this, and thou wouldst at a single stroke disrupt the all-too-delicate balance of this realm, plunging her straightways into chaos.
You do realize what you're suggesting, yes?
To ignore the plight of those one might conceivably save is not wisdom, it is indolence. The words of my teacher, and a creed I hold close to my heart.
Very well. Draw her out. We'll make it quick.
It shall be done. What good a creed one cannot uphold? What hurts soothed? What lives saved? Oh, hapless fool, what hast thou wrought by thine own hands? Minfilia, my friends,
Fuck, are you Uranje?
beg your forgiveness.
Don't fucking tell me that's Uranje. Don't tell me that's fucking Uranje.
Full deeply though it paineth me to walk it, I shall not stray from my chosen path.
Oh no, it's fucking
As
Uranje,
no
isn't it?
reader remains steadfast, so too shall I.
That's Uranje, isn't it? Or is that the Uranje from a different world? Wait, is there two Uranje? Is there two of them? Is that like the Uranje from the other world? What hope it is. I trust you had a good night's rest. I was, but this moment speaking with Tancreds and Yashtolta of Yellinkpearl, they had some interesting news to share. Apparently, during the course of their respective investigations, both came across crates which had once borne Ishgardian shields. It would seem that someone in the capital has been very busy indeed. Accordingly, the Temple Knights have launched a full-scale investigation. Sir Amrit believes that it is only a matter of time before the culprits are found, but we shall have to wait and see. In the meantime, it seems only prudent to look into the recent activities of the other tribes In case they too are flush of Ishgarden crystals, and with that in mind, I suggest we pay Iranji another visit. Wait, where's Alice? She was here a moment ago with Gabu. Alice, where are you? Alice. Oh, that's the portal thing. Is that from Portal, this guy here? No, that's not from Portal, that's from Nier. Is it from Nier or from Portal? I'm confused. No, that's from Nier, I think, right? Is it Nier or Portal? I forgot. Is that little robot that follows you around from Nier or from Portal? I think it's from Nier Automata, right? Yeah, it's from Nier Automata. Yeah, I'm confusing Nier Automata with Portal all of a sudden. Well, then, yes, it's time to leave, isn't it? Yes, it is. I've already packed my things. How is he? Alright, Commander. Something tells me you're not here solely at the concern of his welfare. It is your turn. There has to be no change. He will not speak or eat. I'm not even sure if he slept. If he did, he seems none the better for it. He just shuffles about with that same expression in his face. You will look after him, won't you, Commander, and treat him with every kindness? He's still there, I know it. Beneath the anguish and despair, he's still fighting with all his heart. He deserves to be given that chance until he comes back to us, until we know for certain what has become of him. Aha, you needn't worry. If he hadn't risked his neck to warn us and help you secure the better part of our crystals, this could have turned into a damn sight worse than it did. We'll not soon forget that, and nor will Maelstrom command. I'm sorry, Gabu, I'm truly am. You should never have been made to, and I know, I cannot possibly understand. Yeah, there's nothing I can do or say, the pain, the anger, the helplessness. Hold fast the memories of better times, remember them as they were. And when it hurts so much, your heart feels it to burst, let it burst. Let us burst and fill up again with your love for them, and never ever forget. Come along, little one. I will remember them. And you, Alice. Thank you. Have faith, sister. Your words have reached him in time. He will recover. And those who orchestrate these events will be made to answer for their crimes. A 1,000 times over, there will be a reckoning. Alright, return to the Waking Sands, let's go. Glad tidings from Ogamo, my friends, by the grace of the 12, and your most valiant efforts, the people of Limsa may rest easy. I should like to think so, yes. Though we failed to prevent the Lord of Crags from manifesting, we did succeed in weakening him, enabling our friend to dispatch him before the Wars of Darkness could make matters worse. It was by no means an unmitigated success, but it will have to suffice. And let us speak of another matter, one which weighed heavy on my lady's mind. As I request, I sought out the Green Garen oracles, that we might better understand the aims of the Warriors of Darkness. Though their copious use of allegory defy any single interpretation, the oracles paint a most disturbing picture, one of worlds parallel to our own, a part yet linked, reduced to ruin with every umbral calamity. 7 times have they succeeded. Then 10 of 10. And tree, only 6 worlds remain. Aye, all is my lady Minfilia spoke unto thee. As for what became of these reflections when they and the source are overjoined, frail flesh undone, in emerald fires, each soul turns to her call to flow into the endless sea, there to endure as one and none. Then, if the warriors succeed, everyone in their world will die? In this sense, the verse speaks of the renunciation of the flesh, and substance will return to the life stream. However, this fate may yet be preferable to alternative, for if the first were to fall to transcendent light in the manner the warriors describe, it would give way into a void wherein none may know either life or death. For better to die, they reason, for in death there is life. The essence of a soul, which returns unto the source, may be born anew. Save such, at least is their belief, I surmise. If that is true, then gods, no one should ever have to make such a choice. Here we speak further on the subjects I would share with thee another recent discovery. It would seem that several sizable shipments of crystals have been delivered into the hands of certain Alamigan parties. Alamigan, strange. And you believe this to be work of the same Ishgard smugglers who supply the beast tribe? And no, beyond a shadow of a doubt, at least thou wonder their motive. I would remain you that the Ashens did once attempt to bring about the summoning of Cactuar. The individuals who undertook recipes belonging to a group devoted to the cause of Alamigan liberation. Ishgardian suppliers appear to be none other than remnants of Ale Royal's network of spies. Surely you jest, it is not so surprising. Bereft of leadership and hunted by the Alliance, I can well imagine such villains being desperate. Yeah. All which is irrelevant, forgive me. We must seek out the resistance group, which should receive the crystals without delay. Come with me to Alamigo. Little Alamigo, yeah. Yes, of course, I should like to hear what they have to say for themselves firsthand. You ever walk in the light of the crystal? Often no, I'll say this. Are you true listening? Good, I have tidings. Temple Knights raided the smuggler's warehouse less than an hour ago. A century interrogation of the prisoners yielded confirmation that they were in the employ of, and I hope you're sitting down, a man in black robes. Then you have them, and the crystal too. But through remaining eye, Riverly would seem to dispatch one final shipment in the hours before we struck. It was bound for Little Alamigo, we're told, where it would be received by members of local resistance group. Since ceramic men no longer have need of my services, I have a mind to head that way. As do we. By happy coincidence, we learned of the shipments but a few moments ago. Ha! And there I was thinking I might finally be one step ahead of the Warrior of Light and her little helpers. Wait a moment, there's more, and I defy you not to be surprised by this revelation. The leader of the Ishgardian smugglers was formerly in the employ of one Ale Royale, the infamous Ivy herself. And once again, Tancred, I fear I must inform you that... Tancred, with whom else have you shared this information? Well, the smugglers, no one. As I think I mentioned, the raid was less than an hour ago. I was planning to contact the Stola next, but is there someone else you would have me notify first? No, there isn't. Wait, Orenji already knows all of this. Yeah, because he's working for the Warriors of Darkness, so Orenji already knows all of this. Alice is on Orenji's case, isn't it? What in the world has got into her? It was twice now that we have sought Orenji's aid, and twice she has treated him as if he were a stranger. Yarkon was one of Grandfather's most dedicated pupils and spent as much time at the Yara estate as we did. He's practically a member of the family. The truth be told, I struggled to recall a day from my childhood when I did not see the three of them laughing together. If this continues, I may have to raise the ladder. The little amigo waits. I think it's because she realized that J is working for the Warriors of Darkness or something. Or J is lying to us. Or he knows more than he lets on. Like right here, it's kind of sus that J knows everything that happened in Ishgard, but no one told him. Like, no one told J what happened in Ishgard, but somehow J knows everything that happened in Ishgard. It's kinda sus, right? It's kinda suspicious that J knows everything, while no one told him. We'll get to the bottom of this. Well, for me, I was a little long day. Did you have something to say? J, I've always struggled to understand what's going on in his head, now more than ever. Listen, if anything should happen, it should be with me. Who? Just know that I'm prepared to do what needs to be done. And then do more pressing matters, since we have no idea when Tancred might arrive. So should we see what information we can gather in his absence? Alfred was eager to get to work. Let's go. So to review, we are reliably informed that the members of the Lamigo are still operating here, obtaining receipt of several large shipments of crystals. Our task being to ascertain who and why. Given the sight of the sun, I find it hard to believe that anyone here could wholly unaware of the Resistance movement. Find individuals who are both able and willing to share that information. It seems sensible to divide our forces. Yeah, let's go. We're gonna ask people about the crystals. The Resistance right over there. Alright. Even if I know, it's not as if I'd be any use to them. True, I guess. You set store by all of these tales of secret weapons. Good luck to you. I'm too old for the mass bedtime stories. There's a lot, and it's time we get used to it. Alright, fair enough. I see you're going around asking questions looking for the Griffin and his lot. Interesting. But seems to be the talk of the Lamigo these days. Both wondering what he's about, what he's got in store for the Guardians, and what's under that mask of his, of course. Some say he's hardly got a face. What with all the scars? I reckon he's been marked for death by the Empire. Ooh, that's kind of sad. Paul Sifrin, what do you have to say, Sifrin? Well, let me guess, come to join the fight, have you? No need to deny, my friend. You're not the first to answer to Griffin's call. While he's lit a fire in every Alamigan heart, he's also inspiring more than a few old ones to pledge themselves to the cause. Yeah, that's pretty cool, actually. I should ask what you learned. I think I already know. Know what? What do you know, Alpha? The Griffins seems to be the leader of the newly formed faction within the Resistance Damask. But despite their growing popularity, no one seems to know much about them. Only had the most aggressive militant group to join the movement. Indeed. Many claim their commitment to the cause of Alamigan liberation. We can hope their revolution fervor is never challenged. Direct Shentity Primal. Happy it would be best if you took the lead, shall we? pleases me to see you. I cannot help but wonder if I should be worried. I hear you and Yolas have been asking questions. The Riff and I know of him, as do Will. All and his mast have become a leading faction of the Resistance. He quickly proved himself a pharmaceutic and capable commander. Men are drawn to his passion and his vision, and truly believe that he has what it takes to lead them to victory. But I cannot help but admire that man for what he has accomplished, but I have not forgotten Wilred. I was blind to the danger of his ambitions, and you were not. Just but a pity. Tancred is not here to join us. You two go on ahead. I shall stay behind and wait for him. Temple of Corn. Alright, so we have to go over there then. We have to go to the temple. Let's go. It's over to the left, right? Let's go around. It's over here somewhere. There. Has it begun already? I hear voices coming from within.
Brothers and sisters, 20 years ago, Alamigo, our home, was claimed by the Garlean Empire. In our haste to overthrow the King of Ruin, we turned a blind eye to our foes in the north. With our glorious revolution, we but laid a path for a new tyrant to succeed the old. And when confronted with our failure, we fled. Not a day goes by that I do not think of those we left behind. Think of them and feel ashamed. And we abandoned them, our own flesh and blood, to labor till their backs gave in and their breath gave out, building the twisted steel ramparts which now mar our once majestic mountains. We abandoned them, the brave and true, to fight and die for their country, or worse, to be conscripted and sent off to rob another poor bastard of his home. We abandoned them, the meek and powerless, to bow and scrape when the Garleans pass, to sully themselves that they might live to see another day of misery. The Black Wolf may be dead, but a new Imperial Viceroy reigns in Alamigo now. A beast, not a fraction as merciful. You all know the Eorzean Alliance will do naught to oppose him. For all their promises and platitudes, they will not act if there's no profit in it. Only we can free our brothers and sisters from the Empire's tyranny, my friends. Only we have the courage to stand and fight. They have imprisoned us. They have enslaved us. And they have murdered us. But no more! Blood demands blood, and the Garleans shall pay for every drop they have spilt upon our lands. This I promise you, for we have a power within us, my friends. A power befitting our pride, our righteousness. Only join us, and we shall grant you the means to unleash it, and together we shall see the Alamegan standard raised over the mountains of Gia Arbania once more!
A power befitting their pride. Not at all ominous, that. Wait, is that...
Yida and Papa Limo? What the heck are you two doing here?
What are you two doing here?
What are you two doing here? What are you two doing here?
I could ask you the same thing.
Well, well, this is quite the surprise.
If you see what I see, if you feel as I feel...
Might I suggest we continue this conversation in more agreeable surroundings?
For it is not strength of arms that will win this battle, but strength of heart.
Can't express how glad I am to see you both of you alive and well. And you, though it was pretty obvious you and Thaddeus would be fine. The Crystal Warriors never had a realistic chance of capturing any of the Scions, divided as they were, disturbed by the better part of Eorza. But if you truly believe that, forgive me, what exactly have you two been doing all this time? We're paying a favor. After the banquet, we had no choice but to flee Ul'dah, and we would not have been able to do so without the aid of some old friends from the Resistance. That's right, they smuggled us out of the city and sheltered us in Little Amigo, all at a great risk to themselves. Obviously, we couldn't let that go unacknowledged, so we offered to help them out with their operations for a while. When we learned of the Scion's exoneration, that little Rito had severed all ties with the Crystal Rays, and that General Raban had been reinstated, we resolved to make contact, but having long since discarded our link burrows as a precautionary measure, options were rather limited. To make matters more complicated, we were embroiled in a delicate operation at that time, leaving me with little choice but to entrust a letter to a courier. I gathered from your puzzled expression, however, that you never received it. To be honest, we thought that this might happen. While the Masks are happy to let the refugees spread the word within the community, they're pretty strict about communicating with the outsiders. Oh, and we also heard a rumor that Griffin doesn't want us meddling in his affairs. Griffin mistrusts your Scions of the Seventh Dawn. Curious, it is well known that we are no friends to Garlemald. One would think the man who was beseeching all and sundry to join his cause would welcome our support. I should have said that the man you saw was not in fact Griffin, but an impersonator, and a talented rabble-rouser to boot. It would not surprise me if he were responsible for the majority of these public appearances. As you may have gathered, the Griffin is an extremely cautious, trusting man, who has made every effort to conceal his identity, even when he participated in the raid under his direct command. We were not permitted to approach him. It's hard to know what to make of it all. The secrecy, the impersonators, the masks. What? It's not as if I'm making all of you wear one. Mine only covers half my face. It's completely different. Anyway, when we heard of Griffin was due to give a speech, we thought it might be a good opportunity to get a better sense of the man for all the good it did. And now you have heard the whole truth of it. But tell me, what prompted you to take an interest in the Griffin? Summoning? You're not serious, I can't believe it. The Resistance will never even entertain such ridiculous time. The Griffin, the man is an enigma. I cannot say with any confidence what he would want to do. Why can't you say, however, is that the speech you heard today was not the first to make reference to a power capable of defeating the Empire? The Master have had many such claims of late, at confidence. I had assumed it to be mere bluster, but in the context of the shipments of which you spoke, it is not. Possible that you're alluding to a primal. Interesting. Whatever it is, we'll figure it out together. Yeah, we'll figure it out. Don't worry. Everything's gonna be good. Indeed, as assuming you'll have us. True. Complete. Quest completed. Helping out his mind to learn the Griffin's true nature. True intentions, yeah. You expect Griffin is indeed plotting to summon a primal. He must needs to obtain confirmation while there is yet time to act. To that end, proposal question is double. In his role as the group's de facto mouthpiece, I should be surprised if he were one of the Griffin's closest associates. Yeah, that wouldn't make sense. While he may not be aware of the most sensitive details, he can probably tell us the Mask's plan in broad strokes. Like the man whom he impersonates. However, he is wary of outsiders. He will not expose himself without a suitable incentive. The plan is as follows. UFO will oppose adventurers fallen in hard times, inspired by his words to take up arms for a noble cause. You and I, as members of Resistance, will recount tales of your past achievements and testify to your usefulness in the struggles ahead. Before our turn, let the strikes still ringing in his ear, he will decide to welcome you in person. We will arrange a meeting. You will need to look the part. We might maintain our chariot until we have him cornered at least. Here, this should be enough to purchase suitable garments from Talbot. It all seems simple enough. Thank you. With that, just let us be off. Whatever sack of guilt until about Alright, let's go back to little amigo then. Talbot. You want to buy one? I don't know what you're up to, but I want no part of it. Just some clothes. You're the ones with the guild, seeing as you're friends of Papalima. Here, tunic and stock for both of you. Tailored and treated to your taste. Now, off with you before someone sees us together. Sure. Close makes a man, as they say. Right then, we'll go and change and see the spot Papalima marked on your maps. Shepherd's tunic and slops. Alright. How do I change it again? I always forget how to change freaking your set list. No. Okay, that's how I open it. Okay, armory chest. What I need to wear? Weathered shepherd's tunic and slops. This here? Okay. Equip and slops. Where are the slops? What the heck are slops? All this. Okay, there we go. Perfect. Oh, I look like a person that doesn't do much. And I need to do some repairs too. repair some gear. Repair. Well, look at us paired down heel adventurers seeking a chance to recapture past glories. Yes, this should suffice. And now we play the waiting game.
My thanks, comrades. You must be the esteemed adventurers of whom I've heard so much. I understand you have taken an interest in our cause.
A great interest, you might say. Your words have certainly made quite an impression on my friend and I. The Resistance has long, and some would say wisely, avoided open engagements with the Garleans, but you and yours seem confident against the world in arms. I can only assume you have good reason to be so bold. Why, one might even think you are planning to summon a primal. Because that would do much to explain the sizable shipment of crystals you recently received from your smuggler friends, whom our Ishgardian allies have since detained, lest you wonder.
I'd like to hear more about the Griffin. The real Griffin. Your performance earlier didn't fool us.
Ah, the famous scions of the Seventh Dawn. I should have known better than to think I could conceal the truth from you lot. You are right. I am not the Griffin, but I speak with his voice, and it was at his behest that we procured those crystals. You are wrong, however, if you think that we procured them to summon a primal. We used them to reach an accord with the Amalja. In exchange for crystals to summon their god, they will aid us in the fight for Alamegan liberation.
You've got to be joking. Have you gone completely mad? When people find out you helped the Lizardmen summon Ifrit, they'll turn on the Resistance. Alamigo will never be free.
This isn't a fairy tale, girl. We don't have the luxury to play at being honorable heroes. It's because the likes of you wouldn't sully your saintly hands that Alamigo's been under the yoke for the past 20 years. But the Griffin won't stand for it, and neither will we. We're ready to do whatever it takes.
What proof do you have of this arrangement with the Amalja?
What? Aside from a lack of crystals? None. But the beastmen have a great big pile of the things if you fancy looking. You might want to hurry, though. It'll not be long before they summon their god. Search our camp if you don't believe me. We have naught to hide.
If there is a cache to be found, Ida and I will find it.
Then let us be off. Are you perchance the Warrior of Light? Aye, I thought so. You should know that a great many who have joined us did so because you saved them. Because you showed them that one brave woman can make a difference. You saved me too once. Helped a friend over in Quarry Mill make some medicine I needed. But that was a lifetime ago. On behalf of my brothers and sisters, I thank you. You gave us hope where there was none, courage and strength when all was
at
lost.
A quarry mill.
We shall not
I was reading
squander
a
your
Realm
gift.
Reborn quest, right? Are we supposed to know who the guy is? Do we remember him? We helped him at the quarry mill, right? In A Realm Reborn. That was back in A Realm Reborn, right? We helped him at the quarry mill. Huh. Who is the false griffin then? Interesting. So we did help him before.
I know that look, Ida, and I do not like it. You cannot seriously be contemplating taking up arms with that band of cutthroats.
I just...
If the Griffin and his men have their way, it is only a matter of time before the situation in Alamigo comes to a head. Your homeland's future teeters on a knife edge, and any reckless action, however small, could have irrevocable consequences. You mustn't lose sight of that, Ida. When the time comes, we must all make our choices, but we must do so in full possession of the
Wait, is Yida
facts.
from Alamigo?
Now, let us away. There is work to be done.
Wait, is Yida from Alamigo? Did I miss something? Do you remember? You cannot be expected to recall every name and face, and besides, it's not as if it matters. Take Griffin's double his words. Then the crystals are now some words in Zaharok, ready to be put to use by Amalja. We must prize Alessia of all we have learned. I will join you both and let all might go after I have changed. Now that the tanker has finally arrived, mayhap you could share your latest findings. You did tell me that you and Papua were all here all around. Yeah, there's still will be with you, and also India. You cannot or will leave them in the hands of Emoja. For all we know, do you know where it's at? Oh, okay. Agreed. If there were not else to discuss, it is to come at once. And so they go forth in accordance with the Griffin's plan. Players gather to assume their marks on the stage, breath and playing. Ere long, the curtain shall rise, and the drama of which I am author, gods forgive me, shall thus be performed. And no else remained, save to stand at the ready and pray that the chance is seized, for never shall we know its like again. Let's talk to Alphino now. Contest is good warm reading, but we must not jump to conclusions, not until we have braved the Battle of Embers. We must be ready to engage the enemy at any moment. Alright, Battle of Embers, let's do this. Yes.
This isn't right. The Emulger would never leave this place so poorly guarded.
Not willingly, no.
The saviors of Eorzea. Slow as ever.
By the 12. Will you never learn?
You know, you're right. Mayhap it is time for a change of tack. Killing primals, tormenting beastmen, hastening the birth of a new god. It's all a bit much, isn't it? And frankly, we don't have the leisure to do it. But killing the Warrior of Light, on the other hand, that would soon plunge Eorzea into chaos. One life for one world. A fair exchange! Wouldn't you agree?
Lest you forget, you've more than one opponent.
Carbuncle! Defend me!
I sense you will offer more than mere target practice. Unlike your sister.
Alizé!
Oh yeah, LSA doesn't really fight, right?
Did I not tell you, Alphino? I am not the girl I once was. My brother was always the clever one, while my talents lay elsewhere.
What class is she? Oh, what is this? Is she a paladin? What the heck is this? What class is this?
As Eorzea's blade of light once stood by my side, now I shall stand at hers and defend this realm with all my might.
I guess it's like a paladin.
Finish this.
Let's finish this. Is she like a paladin or something? That sounds pretty. That looks pretty cool.
Soon enough.
There's no escape!
Oh, they use an Eldritch Shriek? Oh god, they use an Eldritch Shriek. figured that out because the dog can heal. So the Magus, and you have to kill the Magus.
No more games!
Stop using your limit breaks as you're stupid. What is this? Goddamn, I can't break free. Cutscene. It ends now.
What?
The chains!
You snake! You would betray us as well?
He that holdeth fast unto his convictions shall never count betrayal amongst his crimes, though all the world may call him villain. My path is unchanged, my creed sacrosanct. This I believe with all my heart. But say, warrior of darkness, and speak true, what dost thou believe? That rendering up the souls of thy world in service to the rejoining will grant it salvation? Nay.
By the 12! Oriange!
Mine apologies, Master Alphino. That the brightest light might shine, duty did compel me to walk in darkest shade.
You sweet fool. I was almost willing to believe you had turned against us. I expect a full explanation when this is over. For now, may I assume you have turned your cloak for the last time?
Thou mayest, my lady. By thy leave.
Even odds then. No matter. We'll crush the lot of you in one fell swoop!
Understood.
Hearken to me. We only have one chance. Channel your ether into my blade that I might strike before the mage casts his spell. I cannot do it alone, but together we can defeat them.
I wonder what class
Make ready.
Alice is. I wonder what class Alice is. Like, what job. She looks like a paladin or something. Got it. There we go.
"'Tis done! With this blade I banish the darkness!"
No. Not like this.
Alize, are you hurt?
A touch dizzy, but otherwise fine. Thank you.
And there you have it. Our friend is too stubborn to die.
We are far from finished. Or have you never considered how we came to this world?
Crystals? You mean, like the Ascians?
Just so. As the Ascians flee unto the rift twixt planes with crystals of darkness, so did these warriors come hither with crystals of light.
Eloquent, as always. Aye, like the Ascians, we too are beyond death. You cannot defeat that which is eternal.
Wait! Such methods as the Ascians employ require the renunciation of the flesh. You would have had to...
At long last you see. To save our world, we gave our lives. We were just adventurers trying to make our way. An odd job here, a favor there. We never aspired to be warriors of light. But word of our deeds spread, and soon people were calling us heroes. They placed their hopes and dreams on our shoulders and bid us fight for all that was good and right. We fought, and we fought, and we fought, until there was no one left to fight. We won! And now our world is being erased from existence. We did everything right. Everything that was asked of us, and still it came to this. You of all people should understand. We will not falter. We brought our world to the brink of destruction, and now we must save it.
I've died before, Arbet. I'm not afraid to die again.
No matter how many times we fall, we must rise and carry on the fight for those we left behind.
To have known the depth of sorrow and embraced the highest sacrifice. Nonetheless, Master Louis-Soix, guide my hand, I pray you, as fate's thread spinneth upon this most capricious spindle. Quickly! Thou must needs invoke the power of thy crystal.
What is this place?
Such pain. Such sorrow. Oh, my dear children.
It can't be.
Mother Heidelin, hearken unto your children's plea. From two worlds do we gather, and from two worlds do we offer a bounty of light. In this desperate hour we do beseech your intercession. We beg an audience with the word of the Mother, with your chosen Minfilia.
Your cries go not unheard, nor your sacrifices unnoticed. Though many are lost, there are those we can yet save, whom I can yet save.
in, Philia.
Blessed children of the First, the light of your world hath grown blinding in its radiance, but it is not yet absolute. I will hie me to your world, and there take unto myself the light which riseth even now to drown it, as darkness once did drown another.
Now you deign to answer our prayers? I will suffer this farce no longer!
As the Ascians must serve as instruments of Zodiark's will, so too must others carry out the will of Hydaelyn. But for the boon you have granted her, she has grown strong enough to set me free, that I might serve as her emissary. Your suffering, your sacrifice, your supplications, she has heard all. We will not let the first fall to light. Thank you, Urianger, for bringing everyone here. It fills my heart with joy to look upon the faces of my friends once more.
In taking you unto her bosom, I knew that Hydaelyn had bequeathed to you a sliver of her grace, granting you strength long sought. And in treating with the Ascians, I learnt of a star like unto our own, a doomed world of fallen heroes, in whom I glimpsed ourselves, the first. Full long did I search for a means to save this world, concluding at the last that the answer lay in the power of blessed crystals. And thus did I labor to set light against dark. Yet I knew from the beginning that this salvation would not come without sacrifice. For the instrument of the first's deliverance would of necessity be required to journey thither, there to remain, mayhap forever.
You orchestrated all of this, not to save her, but to send her away.
One life for one world. Such was the bargain, and you the coin, though it were not mine to spend.
Have we not walked together in the light of the crystal, and at her bidding borne witness to the joys and sorrows of this land? Each and every one of you knows my heart. If this be the price I must pay, I pay it gladly.
You would go alone, then?
My dearest Thancred, you who have ever watched over me, I am truly grateful for all you have done on my behalf, as would my father be. Your kindness, your compassion, your love. These are your gifts to me, and our gifts to them, forming a bond which transcends time and space.
Sometimes I forget you are not the child I once knew. Make me proud.
Oh boy, this is getting emotional, isn't it?
Long have I watched you from Hydaelyn's side, watched as you nurtured and kept safe the light of the dawn. The dark recesses of the world hide untold secrets and dangers. Thus do I entrust to you, Tupsimati. I pray you, keep to the path that you may never have need of it.
Twould seem the power of our crystals is all but spent. Perhaps, if there is naught else to be done.
Hear me, servant of Hydaelyn. If you would have us place our trust in you, then I would ask a favor. Take us with you. Take us home. We were blind to the truth once, so I tell you this, as one fool to another. Light, dark, it doesn't matter. What matters is how you choose to use them. We made our choice and you see what came of it, so please, forge a different path. Seize a better fate.
It is a strange feeling. So many times have I watched you depart, my heart filled with worry. And ever did you return to me in triumph. Someday, when I have found a way to free this star from her sorrow, I promise you I shall repay the favor. Thank you, Lemine, for everything.
Oh god, this is emotional. Oh god, oh my god. Okay. Oh boy. This game sometimes. This effing game sometimes. Holy shit. Holy shit. Oh my god. Speak to Alpha. It would seem that we are in the Santan and the first doom, no doubt, with the 12 speed on her way, and the wars of darkness too. Cannot help but wonder what awaits those wayward souls. If they gave their lives in order to travel to the source, and be returning to the first, would they not? Nothing seems to be a loss for words. Probably my thoughts were also at this When I know full well there is yet work to be done. Crystals. Leave them to me. I will go back to Zahark and secure them. The Alja will still be in disarray after the trashing of the Warriors of Darkness gave them. I would not like to notice the lone bar sulking about. Tancred, you don't have to do this, I know, but I want to. I will see you at the Rising Stone. I should go and find Yida and Papalino. They must have finished searching the mask scan by now. Not that it matters anymore. You must be tired. I know I am. If thou will permit me, my lady, I would ask a question. When did thou become aware of my independent pursuits? When I saw you meeting the Warrior of Darkness and the Ashen and White at the Great Library. Try not to think the worst. You've never been one to confide in others, so I knew that that even were your intentions pure, you would not share your plans with us till you felt the time was right. But I cannot deny that a part of me feared you had simply betrayed us. But that there had been another way. Know that I took no pleasure in deceiving thee, that these sins will forever weigh heavy on my heart. I understand why you did what you did, that you but sought to achieve the greatest good while inflicting the least harm. Not that many would have the courage to make that choice. But even knowing that came of your actions, I find that I cannot condone them, so I'm sorry. Forgive me, but I believe the events of the day have taken their toll on me. I should like to rest for a while. If thou wilt grant me leave, I would gladly escort thee unto a refuge of thy choosing. Once my lady has regained her drift, we shall join thee at the Rising Stones. Until then, Warrior of Light. I'm gonna go back to talk to Papalino. Oh yeah, Pedius. Alphino said you would be joining us. It would seem the Griffin's double was telling the truth, insofar as we found nothing resembling a sizable cache of crystals in the man's camp. Would you perchance find one in Zahark? Actually, I'll tell them everything that happened. Minfilia is now gone to a different world with the Warriors of Darkness. Oh, the crystal, Minfilia, all of it. It's just I don't know what it is. It is. I sympathize, Ida. Even now, I struggle to comprehend that which I saw. The only thing I can say with certainty is that I feel blessed to have been granted a final chance to speak with her. Her spirit is sweet, aye, but also affirming. Alphino, I believe if it is past time, you and I rejoin the Scions. We have been away far too long. Though I'm loath to leave the Griffin to his own devices, I feel our investigation would benefit from your more dispassionate perspective, and I hope that we might, in return, offer our own opinions on the many challenges you have faced in your absence. Gods, it's been absolutely ages, hasn't it? I can't wait to hear about everyone's adventures. You should be glad to recount them. Tatter's tales may well surprise you. Ida Ragnar be praised, it is you. Aye, Ida alive and standing there before me in the flesh. I can hardly believe my eyes. Oh come on now, has it been so long you don't remember me? It's Gundobald. I fought beside your father in the revolution. Do not think less of her, friends. It's been 20 years since their immigration sent us our separate ways. With the resistance, we're always welcome, little amigo. You give us hope, and young Ida most of all. Ida here was always full of fire, ever to be the first volunteer for a mission, until the day she up and vanished, that is. There were rumors we feared the worst, but here you are, alive and well, looking a day older. Well, what can I say? I'm sorry for running off like that and making you all worried. Long story, you see. I got involved with my friends here in the Scions. Sorry we were still in the circle of knowing back then, right? Anyway, I wanted to come back and tell you, but it was all the very secretive stuff at the time, and as you can see, I'm completely fine. We've got a lot to talk about, and we will, but right now I've got to hurry back to headquarters. My friends are expecting me. We forgive her. It has been a very long day for us all. I promise we will visit again at the first opportunity. Let us return to the Rising Stones. So Yida was from Alamigo then. Interesting. Else takes me for giving you that mask. Wait, what? Papolimo? Are you telling me that it's not Yida behind the mask? Wait, if it's not Yida, then who is it? Are you telling me Yida? It's not Yida? Wait, is there... What? Is Papolimo and Yida hiding something from us? So Yida is from Alamigo. And I'm assuming, based on what Papolimo is saying, that the person behind the mask is not Yida. So that would make... What? Speak with Alfino and the Rising Stone, alright, let's go. Come home, I trust your journey was uneventful. You will be pleased to hear that Tancred has secured a crystal. He sent word a short while moment ago. Once he has delivered them safely to Tahal Knight's care, he will rejoin us here, and we can declare this matter officially resolved. While awaiting your arrival, I took the opportunity to contact Y'shtola and Krilly. We found all it has secured. I also requested that they return to Rising Stone as their earliest convenience. Now that our lost friends have been found, we would seem meet to discuss the future.
Back in the Solar. It's been too long since we were all together like this. Not since after Minbreda.
Much has changed since then. We ourselves, most of all.
Though not all who were lost could be gathered here today, we may take comfort in the knowledge that those who are not are carrying on the fight.
While I am grateful to our friends in the north for their hospitality, it isn't half good to be back.
But, as Papolimo rightly said, much has changed since we last stood here. The Scions of the Seventh Dawn are not as they once were, nor should we be. Our travels in the north brought us into contact with a host of fine and generous people, and their selfless deeds serve to show me that it is not lofty causes that should inform our actions, but our hearts. And I hope that the Scions might continue in this manner, as individuals driven by individual principles. Provided we all sincerely desire to work towards Eorzea's salvation, I believe the paths we follow to achieve it need not, and should not, be dictated by any single ideal.
Companions bound by a common purpose, free to go whither they will. The idea is not without merit. Very well. I shall resume my research of the primals and the elder gods of Eorzea. Should anyone have need of my findings, you need only ask. I should be glad of your continued assistance.
Well, my main purpose in coming here was to see the signs of the Seventh Dawn restored and my dear friend found. Nevertheless, having involved myself in your struggles, I feel compelled to see them through to the bitter end. For Minfilia's sake. That is, if there are no objections.
You will always be welcome here, Kryl.
Oh, well, Minfilia's gone. We got a new member.
Brianger, and we trust you to carry on your investigation of the Ascians as before.
Regardless of mine own desires, I am undeserving of your trust, having so villainously deceived you all.
Now, I'll hear no more of that. 'Twould be disrespectful of Minfilia's wishes. She entrusted matters here to us, that we might protect this star and understand the truth which hides at her heart. Mayhap I can handle the former, but I think you far better suited to the latter. No?
Very well. Then out of love for my Lady Minfilia and Moonbreeder both, this shall be my solemn charge.
Papalimo and I should probably return to Thanalan to keep an eye on the Resistance. There's still the matter of the Griffin and the Amalja, not to mention the new Imperial Viceroy. That little lot must be worthy of our attention, right?
And what will you do, Alizé?
You know I have no great love for organizations and formalities. That being said, this new approach you propose is not wholly objectionable, and we've always got her to keep us from bickering. But I will suffer no titles. I am not here for House Leveilleur, nor to walk in Grandfather's shadow.
Upon that point, we see eye to eye. If it please you, you may think of me as but another comrade in arms.
Well then, Alfie, I, for my part, shall see to the paperwork and the finances with my characteristic aplomb.
I would not have it any other way, Tataru. And we mustn't forget you. What now for the Warrior of Light? Indeed.
The path behind us was fraught with hardship, and the path before us will be no less unforgiving. But a new dawn shall break over the realm, and I see before me the faces of those who will deliver it.
Look at him, just as moves on. Look at how far we've come. Look what we've met, the moments we've shared, the losses we've suffered, the tragedies we've overcome. All of it made us who we are today. Where we go from here, and what the future holds, only the 12 know, but I know that we will find out together.
One world's heroes are another world's villains. One world's loss, another world's gain. Where men go as one, there is life. And where there is life, My friends, if I may, I would ask that you entrust Tupsimati to me. Clouds gather upon the horizon, and as Master Louisoix's disciple, I would keep it close at hand. Thank you. I shall guard it well. There is cause to hope. For every ending, every parting, marks a new beginning.
Hold up, brother. You may resume your normal duties or join the others in common battle. Shall be our greatest yet, and I intend to stand with you all on that glorious day. Who is the Griffin, though? True believers are so really led. Given them everything they desired, all for which they have prayed. I doubt you can say the same for your pawns. Get what you wanted then. Was it all worth in the end? There were some unexpected developments, but they were ultimately to our advantage. Be it host to a forfeit life or dark or world, bereft of equilibrium is but a void in waiting, and a void is of no use to my master. I shall follow her emissary with great interest. As for the pawns whom you so pity, they have delivered unto me a gift, which I do now present to you. What is this? No, the eyes of Nidhogg. The eyes of Nidhogg. Many were the candidates considered, but by your deeds, you have proven yourself the most deserving. A man of boundless rage and bottomless despair, whose breast beats a heart which jerks for vengeance. Only you are fit to wield these eyes for weal or for woe. Shit, we're not done with the eyes of Nidhogg, aren't we? Well then, that looks good. So it was here all along. Oh, Nero. What are you doing, Nero? Oh, just you wait, my petty. You and I are going to have so much fun. The heck is Nero doing? That's my question. No retreat, no surrender. Okay, no surrender. Let's go. Alright, so We'll be continuing this next time on Final Fantasy XIV Online.